Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Week in Marvel Avengers Alliance. I am your host, Napalm Dawn, and today's background soundtrack will be linked in the description. It is the Best of Melodic Dubstep Mix 2014, and ironically enough, it came out about a year ago. It's kind of little presumptuous to say it's the best mix of 2014 when it was not even a month into it, but it's a pretty cool mix, and it'll liven up the video a little bit today. So what are we going to talk about in Marvel Avengers Alliance, the Week in MAA today? Well, first I want to go ahead and point out a fun little team up that I was doing while I was leveling Fixer and my mighty Thor. If you want a fun team that ties Thor and Fixer together, get the Ball Tags Blaster, which of course works phenomenally well with the tech upgrade. But you can also get this item called the Dense Electro Tech Hammer. It runs off of charged attack and static charge, which goes with Thor, but it is considered melee tech, and you have tech upgrade built into the weapon itself, so Fixer really bumps this weapon up, and when you use it with Thor and his static charge, especially if he has all of his personal ISOs, this is a really neat little item over here. And you also have Thunder Strike, but that is electric and melee and tech, so that works with the static charge also. I happen to like the Dense Electro Tech Hammer because of the wide open and the winded, which has the chance of shutting down follow-ups from scrappers. So if you had the Dense Electro Tech Hammer, you can bridge the gap between Fixer and Thor, and you can make a nice little team up. You also have something like the Capacitative Impeder, which is electric and whatnot, but it was a fun little combination to use that. Over here, the Kinetic Energy Blade is melee and tech and energy, so this can actually tie in gamma radiation. Gamma sickness will work with this one because of the energy, and you'll get the upgrade from Fixer. So yeah, Fixer's been fun to level, Hybrid's been fun to level, Crystal's been fun to level. Karnak was a dream. I really haven't disliked leveling somebody probably since Kang. Kang was annoying. Fixer is a little slow, but his damage is good enough that he makes up for it. So we have no new content today, this week. We have nothing new in PvE. Most of it's been centered around PvP. In the store, the weather control device is gone, so I hope everybody got it, but we do have the cube. And honestly, if you have the money, definitely get the cube. It is very unique. I mean, you come somewhat close in the fact that you have the weather control device did some of the things that the cube did, and I think it even provided a stronger heal. But of course, the cube gives you mirror reality. So on sale, we have Uncanny X-Force Psylocke, and we now have her Empowered ISO, which prevents you from having to farm that. This is a very good combination. This combination brought Psylocke back to the forefront of PvP in what was known as the Quick Lock group. You have a choice of going Tactician and running Snappy Service, or going Tactician and running Synchronized, or going Infiltrator and running Synchronized. I'm using Mark of the Brotherhood to replace Snappy Service, and I'm running Synchronized. I didn't buy it, I farmed it. And it works out really good because by starting combat with it, if you are running the Manifesting ISO, the simple fact that she applies Mental Coordination at the beginning of the match gives everybody crits, including your agent. So that's really good. You have the Raft Shank for sale. This is another worthy purchase. This essentially allows your agent to turn into Iron Fist. and counter Iron Fist. If Iron Fist goes to counter one of your players, Ravshank can counter him, which is great. You have Uncanny X-Force Deadpool, and one of his ISOs. When Deadpool is in his Uncanny suit, he provides Boombuster to all single target attacks. Boombuster to me is less efficient than Stealthy and is less efficient than the Fatal Blow on the level 4, because you can Fatal Blow all the time unless it's a well-rooted team. For Boombuster, the enemy team has to have some kind of a buff on them. I'm running a Nanoplague team, so they never have buffs, but unless they're running the Scroll of Aknazak, you don't always know that the enemies will have buffs. So to me, Archangel and Psylocke just provide a little bit more of a better buff than Phantom X and Deadpool do. And of course, Spiral was not included, even though she's considered uncanny. So what have we learned this week? Well, we've learned about the PvP items, the 2 gold items, the Jaw, the Nova Star, and the Helmet. They are risky purchases. I did a video on that already, so I won't go into detail. You can see it back in the history on my channel. To sum it up, basically, once you start slotting those new 2 gold items, you essentially can push your offense and defense into a much higher echelon of players. And if you're balanced and your hero bonus and hero levels are where they should be, then yes, get these new items, because you'll get a lot of return for your money on them. The stats on these are phenomenal. They're huge. However, if your hero bonus is crappy, if your gear is crappy, if your offense and defense are patchwork and thrown together, do not buy these items, because it will match you up with people that are also running the high items, and they may be perfectly balanced. And let me tell you, all the attack in the world, all the hit points in the world from the armory mean nothing if your accuracy can't support your attacks and your defense can't support your hit points. Think of a nice down pillow sitting in front of a brick wall. All the pillows in the world mean nothing if a very, very sharp object is thrust into that pillow. Well, that pillow is your armory bonus. It's your hit points. Having 15k hit points means nothing if your defense is so low. And it's like wet toilet paper. You'll have maximum damage done to your hit points, maximum crits, and your hit points will be eaten up. Dots will eat it up. It's just stupid. You won't live any longer by having 15k hit points and no defense as compared to somebody who's got 12k hit points and high level bruisers. Like, they're all 13, they're all 12, they're all 14. So you need to make sure you strike a balance. The other thing we learned this week is that Molly is extremely viable on defense. The AI plays her the way you would almost expect a human being to play her on offense. Round 1, she will use her Raspberry. Round 2, she goes into her quick action tantrum and starts smacking people around. This is how I have my Molly right now, and as you can see, I've got her health up, I've boosted her stamina a little bit, and her attack, defense, and accuracy are very solid. They're 5 bars. At least in PvP, she will act 6 times. That's the very least. In PvE, she was running 3, maybe 4 for me before ISOs. So you really have to watch out for her. Do you have to take her into account the way you would say a Pesty Beast when he was around? Or when he was first introduced? No. But being able to exhaust her, and maybe even being able to nanoplague her, is very, very good. Disoriented will only last until the first time she hits her own team. But She is a force to be reckoned with, and when we get the new Bruiser suit from PvP, this could be a very dangerous combination. I've lost to her once, but I mostly beat her, but that's not to say that I don't find her threatening. I do, because she plays smart. The other thing that we learned is that the weather control device is actually not too bad on defense. It is used relatively well when the team needs a heal, Warm Zephyr is put out. After that, it's kind of up in the air whether it uses the Fire Tornado or the Hailstorm. The first day or two I was running into them, it was definitely the Fire Tornado that was being used, and it even led to a few exhausted wars between me and an enemy agent. I have seen a bit more Hailstorms today, which is a little bit more risky. The bleeding is okay, but honestly exhausted is what you would want to do. And my team is partially shut down if I'm exhausted. Psylocke can never do a quick action mental coordination, and my agent does rely on a decent amount of quick actions and snappy service. However, if you're running the cube and the weather control device on offense, and the cube is on sale, by the way, guys, so get it. You really need to drop your money and get the cube. It is irreplaceable. The weather control device flirts with the edges of being a cube, but it's not the same. Get the cube, and if you can get both of these, definitely get them both, as they actually work very well together. But yeah, exhausted wars were fun. The other thing that we learned, you know, is basically that I think Incapacitation and Doom need preventative cooldowns. Much the way Psychic Tap is not allowed to be placed on you twice in a row, much the way that stuns are not allowed to be placed on you twice in a row, Incapacitation and Doom, I believe, need to have some kind of a preventative after they've been applied. The same thing with Deadpool's buggy, but Deadpool really hasn't bugged me, no pun intended, this season. I went up against a team that was Hot Shot and the Deathly Freeze Ray, and I've thought about using that before. I didn't, because I didn't want the two debuffs to conflict against each other, Burning Chill, Burning Chilled. However, this agent, and there was like a Skull Thumper in there, I think. The amount of stuns and incapacitations that I had was ungodly off the charts, and I spent most of the match... Where did Herc go? Wow, that's interesting. Herc is supposed to be part of this, but I spent most of the match literally watching the match like a movie. I couldn't do anything. My team rotted away because of all the stuns, and some of them came from incapacitation, some of them came from actual legitimate stuns, and it was a complete nightmare. And I think there needs to be like a Psychic Tap preventative. Doom, same thing. I rested one turn because I really wanted to prevent a Doom. Okay, I pushed Doom off, I rested, she applied it right back the next turn. I thought that was ridiculous. That is another one that I believe needs a little bit of a cooldown, so that's what I've learned this week. And, you know, there's no real new content, so mostly this week it was just watching PvP, and I've climbed into Adamantium for the first time in the season, so now I just have to maintain it for the last week over here. And holy cow, I can't even do a quick action, my god. Go blow your... Holy cow! Go blow yourself, Luke Cage. Man, intercepting... Wow. Oh! My god! What a beast. I have to go... Let's see him. Yep, he's gonna hit that too. Man, you're gonna have to find a way of shutting him down for this fight. This is absolutely ridiculous. And these guys are just gonna bleed me to death. Wow, what a piece of crap. I'm just gonna, you know, I'm gonna die over here, but okay, well, thanks, Heimdall. You let him kill the entire team over there, now suicide. That was, man, that was absolutely ridiculous. I'm gonna get an agent in there with the ref shank. So yeah, I hope everybody enjoyed the video. I'm just gonna maybe go over to Scrin now and take advantage of the scrappers over here and get enraged, but I really don't like that Luke Cage over there. That was a painful thing to do. So I hope everybody enjoyed the video. You can look in the description for a link to my Twitter, so you can subscribe, find out when I'm streaming, find out when videos are released, and yeah, take care everybody. Hope you had a happy new year.